She's ignoring you because she wants you to break. I know this because I've done it to men. Good men, strong men, men who deserve better than the psychological games I put them through. I've watched confident guys turn into anxious messes because I withdrew my attention. I've seen secure men start questioning everything about themselves because I went silent. And I enjoyed the power, the control, the way they scrambled to win me back. But I'm about to expose every single tactic we use when we ignore you, so you can make us regret ever trying to break you. Because the way you handle our silence will either make us respect you forever or lose all power over you. Completely understand the game. Understand the game. Let me tell you something. Most women will never admit when we ignore you. It's almost never random. It's calculated, strategic, designed to get a specific reaction. We ignore you because we want to see how you'll respond. Will you chase? Will you panic? Will you start doubting yourself and trying to win us back? Or will you do something that terrifies us, act like you don't need us? Here's the psychology behind female silence. We use attention withdrawal to test your emotional strength. If you crumble the moment we go quiet, we know you're not the strong man we thought you were. We're testing your frame, your confidence, your ability to stay centered when we create chaos. Most men fail this test immediately. They send follow-up texts. They ask friends what they did wrong. They start performing harder to get our attention back. But every time you chase our silence, you confirm what we're testing for, that we have power over your emotional state, that your peace depends on our approval, that you're not as strong as you pretended to be. But when you don't chase, when you stay calm and centered, when you act like our silence doesn't even register, that's when we start to panic, because suddenly the game we thought we were winning, we're losing. But here's where most men make their first critical mistake. They misunderstand what our silence actually means, and it costs them everything. Decode her silence. Decode her silence. Not all silence is the same. And if you respond the wrong way to the wrong type of silence, you'll destroy any chance you had. Let me break down the 3 types of female silence. Type 1. The test. Silence. This is when we go quiet to see how you'll react. We're interested, but we want to see if you'll chase signs. She viewed your story but didn't reply to your text. She's active on social media, but ignoring you specifically. This silence has an agenda. Power. Type 2. The processing silence. This is when we're overwhelmed and need space to think. Maybe something happened in our life. Maybe we're confused about our feelings. Maybe we need time to figure things out. Signs. She disappeared completely from social media. Her friends say she's going through something. This silence isn't about you. It's about her internal state. Type 3. The rejection silence. This is when we've decided we're not interested and hope you'll get the hint. We don't want confrontation, so we just fade away. Signs. She takes forever to reply with short, cold responses. She makes excuses every time you try to make plans. This silence is her way of saying no without saying no. Here's what each type looks like in real life. Test. Silence. You text dinner tonight at 300 p.m. She reads it immediately but replies maybe at 11 p.m. after posting 3 Instagram stories. Processing silence. She completely disappears from social media, and mutual friends say she's going through stuff. Rejection silence. Your how was your day gets fine after 6 hours. Your want to grab coffee gets, I'm really busy this week. Here's the crucial part. Your response should be the same for all 3 types. Because the moment you start trying to decode which type it is, you've already lost. You're making your emotional state dependent on figuring out her emotional state. If this breakdown of female psychology is giving you clarity on what's really happening, hit that subscribe button. I expose the games women play that we never talk about openly, and what I'm about to show you next will completely change how you handle any woman's silence. The response I'm about to teach you works regardless of why she's ignoring you, and it's the one thing that makes us panic every single time. Mirror her energy. Here's the response that drives us absolutely crazy. You mirror our energy. Exactly. If we're distant, you're distant. If we're cold, you're cold. If we're silent, you're silent. But here's the key. You do it without emotion, without anger, without trying to teach us a lesson. You simply match our energy and focus on your own life. Here's exactly how this looks. She takes 4 hours to reply. You take 4 hours to reply. Don't she takes 4 hours to reply. You take 8 hours to teach her a lesson. Do she cancels plans? You say no problem and make other plans. Don't she cancels plans? You guilt trip her or ask what's wrong. Do she goes cold? You match her energy and focus on your life. Don't she goes cold? You try harder to warm her up. Here's the psychology behind why this destroys us. When you chase our silence, you confirm we have power over your emotional state. When you mirror our silence, you remove that power completely. We can't manipulate someone who won't engage with the manipulation. We can't control someone who won't play the control game. But here's what really messes with our heads. When you mirror our energy without emotion, we start questioning if we matter to you at all. The game we thought we were winning suddenly feels like we're losing. I remember ignoring a guy I was dating to see if he'd chase me. I expected the usual double texts asking what was wrong, trying to win me back. Instead, he just matched my energy when I went quiet. He went quiet when I was cold. He was calm but distant. It drove me insane because suddenly I wasn't in control anymore. I was experiencing the same uncertainty. I was trying to make him feel. And you know what happened? I started reaching out to him because the silence I created to control him became the silence that made me chase him. But mirroring energy is just the foundation. What you do while she's processing your new behavior will determine whether she comes back or whether you realize you don't want her to. Improve in silence. While she's playing games, you're playing a different game entirely. Self-improvement. This is where you separate yourself from every other man who's begging for her attention. Instead of trying to win her back, you focus on becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to win anyone back. Hit the gym harder. Focus on your work. Reconnect with friends. Pursue hobbies you've neglected. Build the life you want with or without her. Here's what happens when you do this. First, you genuinely start to feel better. The obsession with her response fades because your life becomes more interesting than her games. Second, if she's watching your social media, and she probably is, she sees you thriving without her. This creates a psychological effect called loss aversion. She starts to realize that while she was playing hard to get you, became hard to want. Back third, you develop genuine confidence. Not the fake confidence that comes from her validation, but real confidence that comes from building a life you're proud of. Research shows that men who channel relationship uncertainty into self-improvement report higher confidence levels. Within 30 days, your value increases while her games become irrelevant. And here's the beautiful part. Whether she comes back or not becomes irrelevant because you've built something better than what you had before. You've become someone who attracts quality instead of chasing mediocrity. But there's one final test she'll give you, and how you handle it will determine whether you truly learned the lesson or whether you'll fall back into old patterns. The return test. If you handle her silence correctly, she'll usually come back, but not the way you expect. She won't apologize for ignoring you. She won't acknowledge her games. She'll act like nothing happened and expect you to be grateful. She's talking to you again. This is the return test, and it's the most important test of all, because this is where she finds out if her silence actually taught you anything. Most men fail. Immediately, they're so relieved she's back that they act like nothing happened. They go right back to the same dynamic that led to her ignoring them in the first place. But if you learn the lesson, you don't just go back to normal. You maintain the energy that made her come back. You stay focused on your own life. You don't drop everything because she's suddenly available again. You make her earn your attention the same way she made you work for hers. This drives us crazy because we expect our return to be celebrated. We expect you to be grateful. We expect things to go back to the way they were. But when you treat our return as just another day, when you don't seem impressed that we're talking to you again, when you maintain your own life and priorities, that's when we realize the dynamic has permanently shifted. We're no longer in control. You are, and that shift changes everything about how the relationship moves forward. But first, you need to understand the mindset that keeps you in control no matter what she does. Stay in control. Here's the truth about women and control. We respect what we can't control. We lose interest in what we can manipulate. When you stop reacting to our silence with desperation, you become unpredictable when you mirror our energy without emotion. You become unmanipulatable when you improve yourself instead of chasing us. You become undeniable. And when you don't celebrate our return like it's a gift, you become unforgettable. This isn't about playing games with us. This is about not letting us play games with you. The difference is crucial. Game playing is reactive frame control, is responsive game playing, seeks to manipulate frame control, seeks to protect game playing, comes from insecurity. Frame control comes from self-respect. When you maintain this frame consistently, something beautiful happens. The right woman will respect your boundaries and match your energy positively. The wrong woman will get frustrated and remove herself from your life. Either way, you win. Because you're no longer accepting behavior that doesn't serve you. You're no longer allowing your peace to be dependent on someone else's mood. You're no longer giving power over your emotional state to someone who doesn't respect it. You become the man who doesn't get ignored, not because you're chasing attention, but because you're too valuable to ignore. And that makes all the difference. But there's one scenario where staying in control isn't enough, when her silence becomes something much darker, and you need to deploy the nuclear option. The nuclear option. Final reflection. Sometimes her silence isn't a game, it's abandonment, and you need to know when to stop mirroring and start walking away completely. Here are the signs. Her silence is actually rejection disguised as games. Time limit exceeded if she's been consistently unresponsive for over 2 weeks, without explanation. She's not processing or testing. She's hoping you'll disappear pattern recognition. If this is the third time she's pulled the silent treatment in your relationship, it's not about her mood. It's about her character, social media activity. If she's actively posting, engaging with others, but consistently ignoring you specifically for days, that's not silence, that's selective exclusion. Mutual friend intel. If friends say she's fine and active but not mentioning you at all, you have your answer when you recognize these signs. You don't mirror her energy. You withdraw yours completely. No more checking her stories. No more waiting for replies. No more mental energy wasted on someone who's clearly checked out. This isn't giving up. This is protecting your peace from someone who's weaponizing silence. Because here's what I learned from my own toxic behavior. Some women use silence not to test your strength, but to slowly drain it. We ignore you just long enough to keep you hooked, but not long enough to make you leave. It's psychological torture disguised as mystery. And the only way to win that game is to refuse to play it. When you completely withdraw from someone who's consistently inconsistent, one of two things happens. Either they panic and reveal they were playing games all along, or they don't react at all, confirming they were never that interested. Both outcomes give you clarity. Both outcomes protect your energy. Both outcomes put you back in control. So here's your action plan. When a woman ignores you, don't chase, don't panic, don't perform mirror her energy, improve in silence, pass the return test, know when to walk away, completely stay in control. Remember, her silence is information, not instruction. It's telling you about her character, not your worth. And here's the harsh truth that will set you free. If she's consistently playing games with your peace, she's not the woman for you anyway. The woman who's meant for you won't test your strength by withdrawing her attention. She won't make you guess where you stand. She won't use silence as a weapon. She'll communicate like an adult because she values the connection more than the control until you find her. Protect your energy. Like it's sacred because it is. And if she never comes back after you mirror her energy, good. You just filtered out someone who didn't deserve your energy in the first place. You didn't lose a woman. You lost a problem. If this gave you the clarity you needed, smash that like button and subscribe for more psychology breakdowns that expose what women really think. And here's what you need to watch next, my video on why women can't resist the man who masters solitude, because the confidence you build during her silence, that's exactly what makes you magnetic to high-quality women. This video will show you how to turn being ignored into being irresistible. Click that video, your stronger self is waiting.